So, it's war then. I made a video last week predicting that Trump would indeed invade Iran and would topple the Grand Ayatollah Khomeini. I was correct on both accounts, but instead of deposing Khomeini, he sent him to hell.
No, this can't be! Believe me, it's tremendous.
Now let me just start by saying, if you are defending the theocratic dictatorship of Iran purely out of hatred of Trump or Israel, you are a traitor. In times like this, we should all be America first. Not Republicans, not Democrats, far right, far left, in between, Americans. But I want to talk about how we got here. The Black Pillars are screaming that we were promised no new wars. Okay, Trump did not start this conflict. We've pretty much been at war with the Islamic Republic of Iran since the revolution of 1979. And yes, America made some mistakes along the way. There's no question. In 1953, the CIA and MI6 staged a coup to overthrow the democratically elected leader Mohammad Mossadegh, called Operation Ajax, after he nationalized Iran's oil industry, which threatened Britain's control over the Anglo-Iran Oil Company, which, fun fact, is today called BP. The West also feared Soviet influence on Iran, since this was at the pinnacle of the Cold War. The CIA staged propaganda campaigns, bribes, they paid off mobs to create chaos, and it worked. Mossadegh was arrested, and Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, also known as the Shah, was installed as sort of a pro-Western monarch. And to be fair, the Persian people actually flourished under the Shah. He used oil funds to reinforce Iran's infrastructure, schools, roads, and even empowered women with educational reforms, and allowed them to dress in modernity. This was called the White Revolution. Then 1979 comes around, and Iranians are mobilizing to overthrow the Shah because they see him as kind of a puppet of the Western governments. Which, to be fair, he kind of was. The Shah was exiled to Egypt, where he was granted political asylum by President Anwar Sadat, and the Islamic Republic was born, headed by Grand Ayatollah Khomeini. He died 10 years later and was replaced by Shia cleric that we know now as Ayatollah Khomeini. Iran has now regressed into a full-blown theocratic state, and it's a dystopian nightmare. Usury was outlawed, women have been disenfranchised, women were barred from driving, the morality police will arrest you for not wearing your hijab properly. I'm not kidding. In 2022, a woman named Masi Amini was killed in police custody for objecting to wearing a hijab in public. This sparked massive unrests across Iran. That was kind of like the precursor to today's protests. The Islamic Republic is also the #1 sponsor of terror on planet Earth. They fund Hamas, they fund Hezbollah, they fund the al-Assad regime in Syria, they fund the Houthi rebels in Yemen. They are a terror state, and their citizens are flat broke. The rial is worthless. And despite popular belief, most of the Middle East absolutely despises the Ayatollahs of Iran. Keep in mind, they are Shia Muslims. The majority of the Middle East is Sunni. Persians don't even speak Arabic, they speak Farsi. So now that I've covered the concise history of how we got here, let's talk about the actual conflict. Keep in mind, the IRGC has slaughtered over 50,000 protesters in the last couple months. They cut off the internet, they barred air travel, they've been completely alienated from the outside world. Just for context, for those of you who watch Candace Owens and believe that there's some kind of genocide or ethnic cleansing happening in Gaza, the IRGC murdered more civilians in 2 days than the entirety of the Gaza war. That's the kind of evil that we're up against here. So President Trump authorizes Operation Epic Fury, and joint airstrikes with the US and Israel began on February 28th, and has been nothing short of success. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and a number of IRGC leaders were killed within 24 hours of this conflict. They blew up nuclear sites, missile batteries, a handful of military bases. Iran retaliated with hundreds of ballistic missiles and drone strikes, but not just at Israel. They're attacking any nation that hosts US bases in the Middle East. Qatar, Iraq, Jordan, Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, leading to scores of civilian casualties. Despite these attacks, the US and Israel are now flying in uncontested airways because Iran's military infrastructure has been disintegrated into a pile of rubble. This conflict is almost over.
This is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kinds of never-ending, nebulously scoped missions. Those days are dead. Instead, we're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives.
He's exactly right. This war was never going to be like Iraq or Afghanistan. Trump wanted a swift strike, hence the name Epic Fury, to remove the Ayatollahs from power. And like I said, these are Islamic terrorists who daydream about blowing up the United States. Iran has attempted to assassinate President Trump twice, and they don't even deny it. They have been building ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, for the sole purpose of annihilating the West, and nuclear warheads, but I'm pretty sure we sent back their military program decades. Thank you, President Trump. Now, the one thing that Iran has a chokehold on is the Strait of Hormuz, which it mostly regulates. This is why you've seen a slight uptick in gas prices this week. 20% of the world's oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Over the last couple of days, Iran has been disrupting shipping through the strait, even attacking some ships with drones and laying underwater mines.
We have some important breaking news, and that is that CNN is learning Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. This is according to two people familiar with the matter. It's another major complication as the world's top oil exporter warns there could be, quote, catastrophic consequences for oil markets if the conflict keeps disrupting ship and oil tanker traffic through the strait.
Okay, if you think that President Trump is going to let Iran control one of the most crucial choke points in maritime shipping, you obviously do not know him very well. I expect the US military or the IDF to hold complete control over the waterways within the next 2 days. Just my prediction. So here's the most important question. Who becomes Iran's new supreme leader? The Islamic Republic's Council has already anointed Khomeini's son as the new Grand Ayatollah. No. That's not going to happen. Zero chance that Trump or Netanyahu let this guy become the new supreme leader. I said this before. Persia needs a secular leader to replace the Ayatollahs to modernize the once great nation. No more theocrats, no more monarchs. We need a democratically elected leader. And it's definitely not going to be Reza Pahlavi, the son of the Shah, because he's currently living in New York. Let the people decide their own fate. If you enjoyed that clip, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks.